Hey everybody, it's Bill Brandmeier here with Movement is the Medicine, our 22nd episode. Here we are. Doug and I are sitting next to each other. That means someone's in the studio. Right. We're excited to bring on our guest today.
Yeah, it's always great to have somebody in the house.
Yes, right? Yeah, it makes us feel like we're actually doing a podcast. With, when you've got someone on the screen, it's a little disconnected. So today, I'm excited. This is a really special episode of Movement is the Medicine. About, I don't know, it had to be about 3 weeks ago, a month ago, I had the opportunity of reading a post from someone who said they were the Chief Wellbeing Officer of the Children's Mercy Hospital.
Great title.
I know.
Great.
I love it. And I reached out to her and said, hey, would you come on our show, Movement is the Medicine? And she's like, I'm not sure you know what we do, what I do. I'm in charge of the staff and the people there and the well-being of the people that work at Children's Mercy. And I said, well, those are the most important people in our city, so I want to talk to you. And so
it's the glue, right? It's the fabric of what keeps everything running.
Yeah, I said, please. So today we have a really special guest, Angela Myers, the new Chief Wellbeing Officer at Children's Mercy Hospital. You've been in the job about, 6 weeks? Do you know where the bathroom is yet?
Yeah. Well, luckily, I've been working at Children's Mercy for a number of years, but this is a definite new role for me.
That's right. This is, for you, I'm not going to say you had a midlife crisis, but maybe you have switched totally from something that you've dedicated your whole life to something new. And we're going to talk a lot about that transition and how that came about and how you got there. I just wanted to welcome you to the show and say thanks for coming on. Doug?
I'm so glad to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you in.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, so as we go through this with most of our guests, we like to go back into your background, into your childhood. Like, has sports been something that you've been a part of? Movement is the Medicine is a podcast for those of you that don't know, that might be joining us just because you love Angela and you want to hear her story and hear what she has to say. But we're 21 episodes into this podcast, and really it's designed to tell parents how important physical activity is for their kids. And we always take our athletes back to when they were a kid and if they played sports. So was that part of your background, or are you 100%, an actress? Okay.
100%. I have been a swimmer my whole life, and I still am a swimmer.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
And I also was a cheerleader in high school.
Okay.
That's excellent.
Yeah, so
that's amazing.
Great. And that's one thing we encourage parents, multi-sports are important and playing different sports. So the opportunity to be a swimmer is grueling. It takes a lot of dedication. And now it's almost year-round, right? Kids are swimming all year round. Did you do that too? Were you a Blazer? Were you part of the Blazers?
I was not part of the Blazers. My parents were really into allowing my older brother and I to play all the sports that we wanted to. And so my brother was also a multi-sport athlete, and there wasn't the same push back then to commit to 1 year-round sport that there is today.
Gotcha.
But swimming has been a big part of my life. It continues to be. I swam this morning.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Good for you. That's awesome. My kids dove, and I dove when I was a kid, and my kids dove, and then I always wanted them to get from the diving practice over to the swim practice, because all the best athletes and the kids who were in the best shape were swimming their laps back and forth. Mm-hmm. It's a unique sport that, you have to have a pool and you have to have the wherewithal to be a member of a club, and did you have that kind of experience? Did you grow up in Johnson County and did you belong to a club?
Well, when I was little, I swam for the city.
Okay.
Yeah. So, Overland Park Waves for a while.
There you go.
And then eventually I swam for Brook Ridge Country Club later on.
Yeah.
And then at high school I swam.
Okay. Yeah. That's great. Great swim programs in Johnson County, and a lot to be thankful for there.
In what events?
I was a butterflyer. I was always.
Oh, that's the hard one.
Yeah, and I loved it. Butterfly and backstroke.
Okay.
And I was always a sprinter. And my coach kept trying to put me into IMs because I could do butterfly and backstroke really well, but I was a terrible breaststroker.
Oh, no.
So IM was not fun.
So grew up in Johnson County. Did you go to South?
I did. I went to South.
Yeah, my wife's a Raider.
Oh, that's good.
It was good.
Excellent.
I married a Raider. I'm a Lancer, but and then when did you know that you wanted to dedicate your career to, or your life to medicine? When did sports end and life as a cheerleader, a Raiderette? What do they call the Raider cheerleaders?
Raiderette?
I guess. Maybe.
Did it end at high school, and then in college? You said you swam your whole life, so did you swim a little in college too?
Well, so interestingly, I went to the UMKC 6-year program right out of high school. So I combined undergrad and med school together in 6 years. So UMKC doesn't have a swim team, but they do have a very nice pool.
Yes.
And yes, I did swim a lot in college because it is such a stress reliever for me, even to this day. And so being able to get in the water and just, because that's all you can do when you're in the water is think about swimming, right? And all the other things kind of fall away for a little while.
Right.
So
it's so intention based, right? I mean, you have to be efficient through the water, right?
Yep.
It's about like just cutting through the water efficiently.
Yes,
and you have to think
is.
about the mechanic, right?
Have you had swimmers that you've worked with that?
I have had a handful of swimmers. Yeah.
Yep. They're dedicated.
Shoulder and back,
Right.
was the primary issues there naturally,
100%.
just with impingements, things like that.
Yeah.
So, right.
So the program at UMKC, 6-year program, was it connected to Stowers at all? Was it?
It was
involved?
not.
No. Okay.
No.
Nothing. So it's its own problem. Was it infectious disease from the get-go for you?
No. In fact,
Pretty broad.
I went into med school thinking I was going to do pediatric oncology
Okay.
because I had cancer as a kid.
Oh, geez.
And-
Okay.
yeah. And so I thought, okay.
That's part of your story. I had no idea.
I know. So there's so many layers. I had bone cancer my junior year in high school.
Yeah.
And so that was the end of my competitive swimming career, the end of cheerleading for me. But I was able to keep doing it, and I continue to do it. So that's what I thought I was going to do. And
that's devastating. I'm going to take you into that a little bit.
Okay.
My nephew had Burkitt's lymphoma when he was 13, which is a really rare form of lymphoma. And young people usually don't get it. And he was able to battle through it. And but it affected everyone in our family. I'm from a big family, and it affected all of us.
Yes.
Cancer is one of those things where it unifies as much as it breaks the body. It unifies the family. I mean, unifies the team. And so, how did your parents deal with that? You said you had a brother, and talk a little bit about what went on to help you heal.
Yeah, my parents were phenomenal.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever spent the night alone in the hospital.
Wow.
And I spent a lot of nights in the
Was
hospital.
Children's Mercy where you were?
It was.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So I was a patient there.
Oh,
Did all my chemo there.
chills.
I know, isn't that crazy? Whoa, I know. This was in the early 90s.
He was there too, so that's interesting. Okay.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, it is a wonderful environment. Huh? They just do such special work there. So go ahead.
Amazing work.
Okay.
Amazing work. So I had phenomenal care. My parents were there by my side. They were there to help me. Then, when I got into med school and just getting through med school, I mean, it's a slog.
Yeah. Did you do bone marrow transplant or anything like that?
I did not have to do that.
Okay. He did. He has a whole new immune system.
Which is amazing.
It is amazing.
It's amazing we can do that.
Get out.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Right.
But so that was your junior year in high school. So how long were you out of school for that?
Well, I did homeschool that whole year,
Okay.
or homebound,
yeah.
as best I could, and I pushed really hard so that I could graduate with my class the following year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And go to prom.
Yeah, I did.
Yay.
That's great.
You gotta have these life moments, right?
Those are important pieces,
Yeah,
right?
they really
Schedule
are.
chemo around going to
Yeah,
prom for sure.
yeah. And you swam your senior year? Or were you not able to?
Well, I did not swim competitively because
Okay. You couldn't get back.
I couldn't get back.
Yeah, I get it.
But I started swimming again and then continued to swim.
Yeah. Good for you.
I'm curious, as you were competing in high school, what were some of the things you were experiencing to say, something's going on here?
Oh, yeah.
So interesting you should ask me that. I would start to have knee pain. And I would, when I would be doing gymnastics stuff with the cheerleading, tumbling, different tumbling things, it would hurt when I would land, like from a back handspring or, and it took, we didn't know what that was. And it was over the summertime, and my mom took me to see an orthopedic surgeon who took an X-ray and showed it to us. This is back in the days before things were digitized, right? You had an actual film and you put it on.
Yeah, no.
And he said, "Okay, well, we need to do this test and this test. And we need to do a biopsy, and we need to blah blah blah." And I was 16, so I didn't know what any of the words meant. I had no idea what was coming my way. My mom obviously did know and was pretty.
Was she?
freaked out.
Did she have a medical background, or did either of your parents?
No, she doesn't. She's a retired kindergarten teacher, but she just knew. She's a very smart woman, and kind of we went from there. But in retrospect, when I look back at pictures, you can see that my leg had gotten skinnier.
Very interesting.
Yeah, and I just did it over that period of months where I had been favoring it.
Yeah, just compensating.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, right.
Well, this little invisible vulnerabilities, right, Doug?
Yeah, I mean, you never noticed that, right? Until, things started to become, highlighted to you. So,
Interesting. So, you get to UMKC, you're in a great program, you've beat cancer. Did you feel like you beat it? Did you beat cancer?
I did feel like I beat it, but it
Did
came
you ring
back.
a bell and everything?
No, they didn't really do the bell thing back in the early 90s. But it came back while I was in med school, and I had to deal with that a few more times.
Oh,
yeah.
shit. Okay.
Yeah.
That sucks. Still, but today, no.
All good.
Hallelujah.
Yeah.
Schooling must have been intense enough. And then, then that
Exactly.
rears its head again. And
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah. What anxiety you must carry.
oh, shoot.
Okay. So, you get through this program at UMKC in 6 years, you crush it. And then are you ready to,
What's next?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then
pediatric oncology.
So pediatric residency is your first step after med school. You have to do a residency, and that's a 3 years commitment. While I was in residency, I realized I didn't want to do oncology, and I wanted to do infectious diseases. And it was a very hard decision for me.
Okay.
Because I thought that it was meant to be, that was what I was supposed to do, was oncology.
Right.
But I fell in love with infectious diseases, and I really struggled. And finally, one day in my second year of residency training, I went to my mom and I said, I really think I want to do infectious diseases and not oncology. And she goes, "Thank God." I didn't want to say anything, but I'm so glad you don't want to do oncology, because they wanted it to be done and over. They didn't, you know what I mean? And they thought that if I did that as my career.
Yeah, you're in
Of course.
Yeah.
And even if you hadn't had that experience of fighting your own battle with cancer, just as a parent, I would hate for my daughter wants to be an early childhood educator, and I'm afraid that she's, if she doesn't find the right school and the right situation she'll be with the, it'll just be hard. It's just a hard choice. So it's just like, I don't know, we always worry about our kids. I can't imagine showing up every day and fighting the fight with families. I can't think of a more noble profession, but to take that on blow by blow, every single child that, some make it, some don't, by the grace of God, you just don't even know. And that would be a hard life. I'm sure those oncologists just, I don't know, my hat's off to them for sure. Okay, so you made the choice to switch to infectious disease because it intrigued you. It lit you up, right? I like it.
And it added time to your trajectory. So, I mean, how are you?
Did you reinvest yourself into a whole different program?
Well, so
how
then...
did you go transition into that?
Well, so I finished residency and then started a pediatric infectious diseases fellowship. That's another 3 years of training. Mm-hmm. And then once I graduated from that in 2008, then I became faculty at the hospital for pediatric infectious diseases.
And have you stayed in Kansas City the whole time?
Whole time.
Oh, wow. Okay. Oh. And did you build a family here too?
I did.
Okay. All right. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that's good because you seem pretty special. You need to.
Thank you.
And what did you involve yourself? What kind of work did infectious disease? I mean, you led the department, right? Mm-hmm. You were in charge of infectious disease at Children's University Hospital. That's pretty incredible. What does it take?
Right.
And you raised a family, and
It's a lot of demand.
Holy
you know,
cow.
you have to be very efficient with managing your time.
Yeah, superstar. I love
Right.
it. And you swim all the time. Okay, so what did you focus on there? What was your job like as head of the Department of Infectious Disease at Children's Mercy Hospital?
Well, so it's leading the team, right? So it's leading all the other doctors and our pharmacists and our nurse practitioners and all those people. I took on that role in 2018. And if you remember what happened at the beginning of 2020, it was a really interesting time for infectious diseases in the world.
Right.
And so my job became exponentially more as I helped lead our COVID-19 response right throughout those few years when we were dealing with that. Yeah.
Front lines. You talk about the front lines. So did you lay awake at night worrying what was to come the next day? I mean, was it super stressful for you as an individual and as your...
It was stressful. I will tell you that I did some things to try to help alleviate that stress. One of the things I did, we have a pool at our house.
Okay.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
And we turned on the pool heater in April because, everything was shut down. Remember, everything was shut down.
Yeah.
And I got in that pool and I swam.
Right.
Because that was one thing that I could control and that I could do to just help my mental health state, during this time where there were so many unknowns and what was happening and we didn't have a vaccine yet, remember?
Right.
Well, so then you're doing this, and a year ago, you're diagnosed with another cancer.
Yeah.
Oh, how did that feel? I can't even.
I mean,
Were you just like, come on, God?
yes, I was. I was a little bit in disbelief, more than a little
Not
bit
to
irritated.
laugh at it, but
come on.
Yeah.
This is not fair.
Right.
You keep picking on me.
And did you have the gene? Did you test for the gene early on?
I don't have any genes. I did test for the genes.
Yeah. So just something that happened to you.
Yeah.
And it led to a year of trying to figure out what life was all about for you. Talk a little bit about what you went through over the last year and when the light came on at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah. So, in adulthood, it's a little bit different with cancer than it is with kids. With kids, they get diagnosed and they start treatment right away. With adults, there's a lot more process to it, and it takes a little while longer. So, I ended up having surgery last May, and I ended up having radiation in last summer over the summertime. And it was during that time when I was on leave of absence from work that I had just a lot of opportunity to think about life and where I was going and what were my priorities going to be moving forward. And I had already been doing, some well-being work with the hospital. And I thought, I think this is a good time to make a transition for me. I need to step away from leading the infectious diseases division, and I need to focus more on the health of all of our people in the organization, and myself included with that.
Right. Big transition.
Did you have surgery with any of your other cancers?
I did.
Okay.
I've had multiple.
Okay. So you knew what you were in for, but still super traumatic. Your network, who'd you lean on? Talk a little bit about what supported you through the last year, like where.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about.
So my family was
Mom again,
phenomenal.
your mom again.
My parents live next door to me, actually.
That's great.
Yeah, well,
it's amazing.
I mean, come on.
And my husband and my kids are older. But I will tell you that in addition to swimming, I work out at least 2, sometimes 3 days a week with a personal trainer, and we do group sessions. And
group sessions are so good. Huh?
It's amazing. She's amazing. She should be on this show sometime.
Okay.
Anyway,
please.
Okay. So anyway, she helped me with other women at the gym, and there's guys that go too, arrange a ride situation for every single one of my radiation appointments.
Oh, wow.
So one of the people that I work out with, or a family member, took me to every radiation appointment and brought me home. And that was amazing.
I bet.
And then when I was able to come back and start working out, but I couldn't quite lift weights yet, she would have me work out. She would buddy me with different people for walking. And I got to know the people I work out with so much better because naturally you're going to walk and you're going to talk, right?
Right.
And so they lifted me up in ways they probably will never even
So cool.
realize.
Can we shout out to her?
Yeah, shout out.
Who is she?
Kelly Aldridge.
Kelly. Awesome.
Yeah.
Kelly Aldridge.
Yeah.
Okay. Superstar. Thank you so much for
And where does
making.
she work out of? Where is?
Top Flight Performance is where we go work out.
Okay.
Yeah, we want her on the show.
She's also the president of Chicken and Pickle.
Oh, yeah.
What?
We,
Yeah.
we know Kelly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, she's amazing.
It's a win-win.
Yeah.
It's a
How cool.
win-win.
Yeah. Super cool. Well, yeah, I actually have had the opportunity to do some fundraising with her with pickleball, and I'm also with Charlie Hustle, and then she was involved in another wiffle ball deal. Did you ever do the wiffle ball thing in Loose Park? The
No.
wiffle in the hollow? Oh, it's a long story. Anyway, I love Kelly Aldridge, and she's amazing, and we need her on the show for sure. And we could talk about pickleball for probably 2 or 3 hours.
You're talking about infectious disease, and with my injury, I was in the hospital for 10 days, and I have just enough of a background to be able to read people's expressions. And as they're analyzing the bacteria in my infection, I just remember the infectious disease doc coming in, and I could read his face like a book. He'd be like, we got to pivot here and take more laps. And I said, well, could you just read those outside? So I'm not like reading your expression.
Right.
It was a moment where I was, just not the brightest moment for me, but grateful
I'm
for the
sorry.
expertise that was coming into the room for sure.
So incredible surgery and then radiation and incredible network around you, surrounding you, loving you, carrying you through, pulling you through, supporting you. Work. How did work take a part in what happened to you the last year? What did Children's Mercy do? Give you space.
I mean, I can't even tell you how amazing it is. My partners in our practice, in our infectious disease clinical practice, didn't bat an eye when I said I wanted to take off, these 10 weeks over the summer to do this. They were phenomenal. It meant they had to pick up extra, right? Because somebody has to be on call 24/7. All of the other work that I do for well-being, I had that my team was like, you're good. We've got you.
Right.
Children's Mercy is a phenomenal place to work, and it's a family.
Yeah. Right. I always felt that. So Paul's announces he's leaving. Is he the person that defined your role with the Wellbeing Officer, Chief Wellbeing Officer, or was that the new person?
Actually, it's the Chief Medical Officer, Doug Rivard, who did.
All right. So he pushed it, and Paul just had to say yes because he's the boss. Yeah,
of course.
Cool. I like it. And have you met with the new group and the new guy, and he's excited and everything's transitioning well? I guess he's a really phenomenal person. He
is. Our new CEO is great.
Yeah.
I have met with him on several different occasions. He's very supportive.
Yeah, how fantastic. Well, talk a little bit about what well-being means to you and what your new role is going to mean to you, and what do you bring to this other than an incredible life experience as a patient and a doctor and a mom and a husband, a wife, and all the stuff that you have. I mean, obviously, you have to live it to teach it, right? You have to know it to share it. Talk a little bit about what you think well-being is, and what do you bring to Children's Mercy now that you have this big title.
Oh, thanks. Okay, sure. So, I think well-being is a lot of things, right? It is our mental, our physical, and our emotional state, and it's all of those, and they're all interrelated together, right? They can't really be separated out. We, as a country, are in a crisis of mental health and of loneliness, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Our Surgeon General, our outgoing Surgeon General, has written a book on it, written multiple things on it. And some of the things that we can do, especially as we had come out of this pandemic, was be together. Yeah. And it's be together in sport, right? Because we know that actually pushes us to be better. Sure. And there's a social connection there. Right. It's being together in other ways too. Yeah. It is destigmatizing the idea that people sometimes need mental health support, and that it's okay to not be okay. And it's also looking at things in a different way?
Sure.
How can we make the work environment better for the people?
Right.
When we make the work environment easier for the people, we make the work easier to do. And when the work is easier to do, they can focus their attention and spend more time with the patients and families, which everybody wants, right? Including the patients and families.
Well, and so the patients are like key to this whole deal. They're children. We're talking about something you've dedicated your whole life to serving. Children's Mercy came out with this huge Illuminate campaign about children's mental health and raising tons of money to help serve the need, which is massive. And how does does Illuminate impact you and your job? And are you seeing how their strategies, that their outward-facing strategies, have some internal impact?
Absolutely, because there are outward-facing strategies, but there's inward ones too, with infrastructure building within the organization.
Right.
And that absolutely affects our team and affects all Children's Mercy team members in a really positive way.
Right.
It's really exciting work. And we are hoping, that we're going to be able to do some really great things for the children of our community, but also for the people who work at Children's Mercy. One of those things is just even having an on-site mental health person so that you don't have to go somewhere else if you need to do a check-in or a drop-in.
Right.
You need a little mental health support.
Yeah, obviously I kind of mentioned that I'm on the inside a little bit with some of the things that have been proposed and thought of with regards to children and mental health. This idea that physicians can begin to prescribe physical activity as part of their treatment plan for patients is something that I know that a couple of docs that we work with, Dr. Jay Roberson, who's been on this podcast, and Kevin Latz, they believe that the more physicians we can get to prescribe physical activity, the better. How do you feel about that idea and incorporating that into some of the stuff that you teach in terms of wellness and wellbeing?
100%.
Yeah.
And you mentioned Shelley earlier, and actually I work pretty closely with her. We meet once a month.
Okay.
And we
she's incredible.
Well, she is. But the important
she gets
thing-
frustrated too because she's like, they put Coke back in the. She was so mad.
They put soda back in the
they had all
break room.
they were able to remove all the healthy stuff and then they put it back and she's like, what's happening here?
Yeah, sometimes
we like her stuff.
Yeah, no, exactly. People do like it, but the idea is that it's all of the things, right? And so we work closely with her as well, and helping to promote some of the physical activity things that are promoted through the hospital as well.
Sure. Yeah. So, how big's your job? What do you get overwhelmed? What keeps you up at night? What do you think about?
It is a big job. I sleep pretty well. I do.
Because she swims and works out.
But I also am a real big believer in gratitude.
Yeah.
And I write in a gratitude journal every night. And there's actually really good data around doing that. And as a mental health protectorate.
Oh yeah.
And also helps sleep. Just in case you didn't know that.
Wow.
But
I'm big on that.
Yeah, gratitude's a really important aspect in my life.
Yep.
And I think it makes a big difference. But I think about all kinds of things, ways to improve the workplace itself.
Sure.
One of the things we've been working on recently is taking out mental health questions in all of our initial and re-credentialing forms, because physicians and nurse practitioners have to be credentialed to work at a hospital.
Right.
And we've been working with the Dr. Lorna Breen Foundation and the American Medical Association to get rid of that stigmatizing language, to normalize help-seeking behaviors.
That's great.
Yeah. Well, so how many employees are we talking here at Children's Mercy?
Like 9,500.
Yeah, it's a
Wow.
lot.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Big.
Big.
The job is one of, everyone who comes in contact with the organization walks away going, they're just unbelievable how good they are. Was there someone that did what you do before you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so they're handing the baton to you, kind of?
Yeah, she did.
And she's someone who you still kind of lean into? And,
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's really cool.
It's legacy. I like it. All right. Well, so let's talk a little bit about what the future holds for you. Like, how long do you want to do this? What's going to happen?
I don't know. That's a great question. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm open I'm open to lots of things. I really feel dedicated and committed to the people of Children's Mercy. I feel like I have been a part of Children's Mercy since I was in high school. And I feel like this is one way that I can give back to an organization that saved my life.
Yeah,
right?
Of course.
So that's important to me.
Yeah.
But I believe in...
I think they should put you on stage at the Big Slick is where I think.
Well, they did in
Okay, good.
in 2022.
I would have.
In 2022, they did.
I'm kind of an event guy. I kind of can see it.
It was really... that was one of the most
Yeah.
fun nights of my entire life.
bet.
It was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, those guys are amazing. That's really fun. Okay.
Oh, but I believe in the universe brings opportunities, and it's up to you to realize them when they present themselves, and to, even if you're a little bit afraid, to just try it, to do it anyway.
Yeah. Well, the universe brought you to me, so I feel very blessed.
Thank you.
Really appreciate you taking the time to come on.
I'm doing the numbers here. So you know, undergrad, med school, residency, fellowship, and then your journey now.
Are you asking how old
And
I am?
I'm like, you look 30.
You're not going to believe this, but I will be 48 tomorrow.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
there's biological age
You and my
and
wife were at
chronological
South. You and my wife were at South at the same time, which is kind of interesting too. She's 49, so or she may be a year older. My brother Matt Brandmeier, I don't know who's.
Matt was in my class.
Yeah,
Yes?
Matt was in your class.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Gosh, your name sounded familiar to me. Yes.
Yeah. So we have small world, small city, you know, Kansas City. I went to high school with Doug's wife too. So I'm 10 years older though. So
Didn't now Paul Rudd go to that high school?
he went to
He
West.
went to West.
Oh, did he?
My
Okay.
brother went to West.
Yeah,
Okay.
Rob Riggle went to South.
Yep.
and
Okay.
he's my brother's age, and so it's all It's all. But no, small world, and so neat that you had the time to join us, and we get to talk about what you are all about. You're a lot more than I thought we were going to get, and you're amazing.
I hope
You
that's a good
are.
thing.
No, it is. It's
I'm
amazing.
kind of curious. Any goals with the swimming? Yeah, swimming has been a part of your life. You know, triathlon. Like, do you do relay swims? Anything like that?
I have done a team try. I cannot run with the prosthetic,
Of course, yeah, but like you know, swim. You know,
but I have done a team try before. I will be honest. I don't love open water. I mean, I like the ocean, but I don't really like swimming. It's gross. But I do love the pool, and so it's hard to find the team try that fits in that parameter.
Right.
However, you know, I just have fun making goals for myself.
Right.
So like today I made it 3,000. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I just set a goal. Here's a time I want to hit. Right.
Yeah.
I read Katie Ledecky's book. Have you guys read that?
I haven't.
It is such a good book.
Okay.
So think about it.
Okay.
But she would talk about writing the goal down of like what time she wanted to make and just like really focusing on that.
Right.
And I think that is such an important part of life, you know, and of being able to achieve it
so
and then going to the next one.
Shauna
right?
Adamick. Do you know who Shauna is?
I don't.
She runs the Oracle Foundation, and she was diagnosed with a non-malignant brain tumor when she was in like 40, 41, 42 years old, and she lost all half. And she put up on a mirror. She was a guest, of ours.
right.
She put up on a mirror, I'm going to smile with my whole face. I'm going to, you know, just told herself what she was going to, and you see her now, you can't even tell.
That's
You
amazing.
just can't even believe it. Yeah, and she wrote a book called Audacious Optimism.
Okay. I'm gonna
So
look that up.
I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
I'll send you a link.
Thank you.
In our follow-up. I also would love to talk to you more about the preventative benefits of physical activity for kids. And I've talked to, you know, incorporating a strategy in Illuminate that would, and I just want to get your thoughts on that.
So I have two kids. One is 21, one is 17. Both played sports from the time that they were very little.
Yeah.
Both played soccer. My daughter still plays soccer. She's a senior in high school.
Right.
And she plays tennis. And I have seen firsthand of the power that sports has brought her. She was a very quiet, kind of timid girl when she was little.
Yeah.
And she was not an aggressive player. She kind of struggled on the field. She eventually became a goalkeeper,
Right.
and that has been the best thing for her. And I have seen the leadership skills grow, the confidence grow, just the ability to be a part of a team, and also the ability to take a loss and
Right.
overcome adversity, because part of sports is losing.
This is so great.
And you have to learn to
Right.
lose with grace, right?
That's exactly right.
So there's so many skills that I have been able to watch my kids develop as they grew into, adulthood, really.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
Well, I was going to try to talk to you a little bit about being a mom and what that was like, and you just nailed it. So I do have a great relationship with Michelle Wimes.
She's amazing.
And so now I know 2 chief executives at Children's Mercy. I think we can get something done here. I have this.
Absolutely.
Michelle
rubbing
is a
elbows with
true
great
believer
people.
in the equity of sports that needs to be expanded into our city. And so there's a huge opportunity there. And, I know that you're in charge of the people that work at Children's Mercy, but it really begins with the practitioner, with the clinician, with the nurse and the doctors, being able to fortify this message that all kids should be moving their bodies 60 minutes a day. It just should happen. And somehow we got away from that in these public schools and even private schools have struggled with getting their kids off their phones. And so.
Bill, something that really is near and dear to me, obviously, as you know, is swimming. But it's also the fact that a lot of kids don't know how to swim.
Don't know how to swim.
And
don't have access to a pool.
I would love one day to be able to, when I do step away from medicine, which I will someday, to be able to teach kids to swim at no cost.
Yeah.
I would love to be able to do that.
Well, that's a program Shareways can get behind. So
Awesome.
we will do that together.
Cool. I would love it.
You're my friend for a while now.
Perfect.
Okay. Thank you so much. You've been listening to Movement is the Medicine. It's our gift back to parents and coaches to make sure that they understand the benefits of physical activity and exercise. Today, we had a really special time to talk with Angela Myers, Chief Wellness Officer at Children's Mercy Hospital, in charge of the well-being of all of the incredible people that care for our kids when they get sick, and couldn't be a more important job as far as I'm concerned. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
And remember, dance like no one's watching.